Good morning. Audi A4 B6, 2000 to 2006. The main problem of this generation of Audi A4 is rust. If it is on the fenders or door edges, it is not so bad, but it also attacks other body elements, e.g. the windshield, where the manufacturer placed the battery, as well as the sills. So much for the main trouble spots of accident-free cars. In post-accident rust efflorescences, there may be even more, because sometimes bodywork repairs are carried out in a botched manner. Inside, it is worth checking the condition of the displays. They may have burnt pixels. A typical phenomenon for the A4 B6 is the abrasion of the button surfaces. The air conditioning should definitely be checked. Its durability is not exemplary, and repairs can be expensive. Usually, when problems with the air conditioning occur, the condenser is responsible. The last thing, although slightly less typical, is the issue of the glove compartment in front of the passenger. Sometimes the hinges break. If you're planning to buy an Audi A4 B6, then just in case, set aside some cash, around 3,000 Polish zlotys, for the repair of the front multi-link suspension. Of course, not everything needs to be replaced, but even replacing the wishbones alone will cost a 4-digit sum. Spending more money can sometimes be avoided if you regularly check the power steering fluid level. Sometimes leaks happen, which results in system failure. Although the brakes themselves are not really a problem, it is worth noting that discs of different diameters were used, depending on the engine version. Apart from the top-of-the-range S4 variant, the 4 rupees was not offered at that time. The regular A4 B6 could have front discs with a diameter of 280, 288, or 312 mm, and rear discs with a diameter of 245 or 255 mm. Dynamic drivers are not very happy with the braking performance, even with 312 mm discs, but it is possible to use 320/288 of a millimeter discs from the Audi A4 B7 or even larger ones, although even with such a modification, it will involve a longer list of changes than just discs and pads. The yokes are a minimum. Usually the calipers also need to be replaced, sometimes the handbrake cables, with cables from the S4. When swapping for larger discs from the S4, the covers also need to be replaced. The Audi S4 B6 has 345 mm front discs and 300 mm rears. The following petrol engines were used in the Audi A4 B6. 1.68 V, 102 HP. 1.8 20 volts turbo, 150, 163, 190 HP. 2.0 20 V, 130 HP. 2.0 FSI, 150 HP. 2.4 volts, 630 V, 170 HP. 3.0 volts, 630 V, 220 HP. The simplest and cheapest to use and repair is the basic 1.6 engine. It does not provide lightning-fast performance, but thanks to its advantages it has a group of supporters. The 1.8T units are worth recommending, even despite slightly higher requirements for the service regime, with particular emphasis on timely oil changes. In addition, you have to watch out mainly for the chain connecting the camshafts, water pumps, oil leaks or worn or damaged ignition coils and turbines, but it is still one of the most interesting engines on the market in this segment. It is worth remembering that, apart from the optional Multitronic continuously variable gearbox for cars with front-wheel drive, the 150 horsepower version of the 1.8T engine always had a 5-speed manual gearbox. The 163 horsepower version could have 5, FWD, or 6 gears, Quattro, and the 190 horsepower, 6 gears regardless of the type of drive. Returning to engines, there is no need to worry about the 2.0 20 volts version. The main complaints here concern valve timing variator failures, the inability to start the drive unit, or a cooling system failure. Some add to this the accusations regarding oil consumption. The 2.4 and 3.0 volts 6 units are popular. Their typical problems concern the timing drive and oil consumption. The 2.0 FSI unit is average. In addition to the carbon deposits typical of direct fuel injection units, the problems here also include unstable camshafts and failure sensors, e.g. NOx or knock. In the top 4.2 volts 8 from Audi S4, attention is mainly required for leaks and oil consumption, problems with timing and cooling system, and faults of flaps in the intake manifolds. Apart from that, it is a durable engine. The Audi A4 B6 range includes the following diesel engines: 1.9 TDI, 100, 115, 130 HP. 2.5 V6 TDI, 155, 163, 180 HP. With the 2.5 TDI, it is worth bearing in mind that the 163 HP variant could reach a maximum of 310 codes BFC, BCZ, or 350 Nm, BDG. The first value applies to cars with a multitronic gearbox, and the second with a manual gearbox. Typical 1.9 TDI faults include EGR valve failures, damaged head gaskets, or valve cover gaskets. Oil leaks are a common problem with these engines. All power versions of this unit have unit injectors in the Audi A4 B6. Most of them came from the factory with 5-speed manual gearboxes. The exception are the 130 horsepower versions with the AVF engine code. Here the manual had 6 gears. The 2.5 V6 TDI units struggle mainly with faulty injection pumps, oil pumps, or worn camshafts, although they are still better than the older versions of these engines used in other VW Group cars. In addition, turbocharging system failures should be expected. The 180 horsepower variant is one of 2 engines in the range of this Audi model that was not available with front-wheel drive only. The other is the petrol 4.2 volts 8. In general, in terms of reliability, durability, and operating costs, the 2.5 V6 TDI is a worse choice than the 1.9 TDI. But in view of the fact that the A4 B6 range did not yet include 2.7 and 3.0 TDI engines, the 2.5 can be conditionally considered. This engine cannot be unequivocally recommended. The Audi A4 B6 used several types of gearboxes. The standard was a 5 or 6-speed manual gearbox, and for some front-wheel drive engine versions, the Multitronic, continuously variable gearbox was optional, while for models with Quattro drive, the Tiptronic automatic gearbox was available. The only engine version in the range that was available with every possible type of gearbox was the petrol version 3.0 30V. So we had 3.0 30 volts FWD with 5-speed manual gearbox, 3.0 30 volts FWD with Multitronic gearbox, 3.0 30 volts Quattro with 6-speed manual gearbox, 3.0 30 volts Quattro with 5-speed Tiptronic. Manual gearboxes are not problematic in themselves, nor is the transfer of power to the front axle. The only concern is the durability of the dual-mass flywheel in more powerful diesels. In the case of Multitronic and Tiptronic, taking care of the transmission, oil changes and proper use is of great importance, but a continuously variable transmission will probably not travel more than about 200,000 kilometers without major expenses, and an automatic, 250,000 kilometers. In intensively used Audi S4 models with manual transmission, it is worth checking the operation of the clutch. It sometimes works worse than it should. In models with Quattro drive, it is worth remembering to change the oil in the transfer case and differentials, and the tires on both axles should also be the same. We are talking here not only about the tread pattern, but also about the degree of tire wear. Answering this question is not easy at all. The Audi A4 B6 is a relatively well-developed model and has even more decent petrol engines than the newer B7. The B7 makes up for it with 2.7 and 3.0 diesels, but due to their age, many copies are already very worn out, and often had to deal with bunglers instead of mechanics or bodyworkers. However, if you manage to find a really well-maintained copy, it is worth considering buying it. And if you know of any common errors, your comments are welcome.